to ask good questions. I not only ask good questions, I can talk a lot too.
I know. Can talk. Well, I don't know. Maybe we kick. I'll try one last thing. Maybe we kick it off and get going on.
Yeah.
Anybody here that's piped in that's there. If you got questions, then we'll get your experience or questions on this. Um, we thought we would give a little presentation this week. I've got a little presentation that they have, a Healy presentation to give everyone a familiar. It has some good background, and we can pause during it. And so I'll go through that, and then Paul thought he would, between the two of us, we'll go through and do a demo again together, and address any questions. And if there's anything else somebody wants, thanks for pushing the record button, Paul.
Yep.
I
had a note on my computer to do it, and I almost forgot too. So I just pushed it
now. We keep forgetting to do that. So yeah, thanks. So anyways, I'm going to share my screen here, and I will get this going here, and it is on my iPad. And I've been giving this presentation to some folks individually too to do this, and Paul has this as well, and I can make this available to anybody else if you want to share it, or if you want to invite somebody to do a sharing when we're not doing a Zoom user call. So we're going to talk about Healy and how it's actually it's the next way of how to actually go through and have healthcare and freedom. And so this is really pretty powerful. So there's it's a lot of people quote this guy, Nikola Tesla, and he basically said this, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And most of us are kind of like ignorance to energy, frequency, and vibration. Some aren't. Some are actually on this call, pretty aware of that. But when you begin to understand energy, frequency, and vibration, this is why Healy is so powerful. And so we'll go through with that.
Just a real quick thing, John, on Tesla. I learned this week. I was talking with someone from one of our frequency family pages, and I wasn't aware. I was made aware that Tesla actually demolished a building with frequency. I did not know. I just thought it was a cool little tidbit of information that I was told this week.
Huh. Wow. Well, and so you think about an opera singer hitting a note at a certain vibration and breaking a lead crystal glass that doesn't, and what else was the other thing? That soldiers, I was in the service, they would teach us to break step. So you'd be marching in a cadence, and when you would cross a bridge, they would teach you to break step, because that marching in unison on a bridge could cause a vibration that could cause a bridge to collapse. So there was just a thing of like break step.
Interesting.
So basically, it can actually prove that everything in the universe is pure energy and frequency, and that's what the folks over in CERN are doing with their super Hadron Collider, where they're actually just showing that everything is just energy over here. This is a slide that basically shows that when we're young, we've got a very healthy cell. And so think of a cell like a cell phone battery. So a cell phone battery, when they're brand new, or your Healy battery when it's brand new, it has the ability to send and receive energy. And so if your cells are strong and they've got good electrical current, they can communicate with each other. As we get older, or as we get into a disease condition or have inflammation or tumors, the cell voltage goes down. And one of the things Healy does by working on the vibration, it actually turns your cell vibration back up. And that's one of the reasons why we can heal so fast, or you hear some of these testimonials from people. This is what's actually going on. And they can actually measure it. And these two guys up at the top that they quote, this Becker and Nordenstrom, did work to actually prove this on cells. So when people kind of go to us, they go like, well, I just don't know about this, well, if you look at how our body is composed, we've got tissues and organs, and beneath that are cells. And then beneath cells are molecules, and beneath molecules are actually atoms. And what makes up an atom? Well, subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, electrons. And then what makes up there and holds that together is actually energy. So we're kind of fooled here. I mean, we look here across the Zoom, we all think we're real, but it's like, we're really just energy. This is just sort of the solidification of the energy, much like, I guess, if you wanted to think about water, H2O, when it's steam or it's in the air, well, the H2O is still there. You can't see it. Well, then if it gets in a cooler condition, well, now it's liquid, it's water. And when it gets into even a cooler or a slower vibration, it then becomes ice. So whatever, as our get into a more density of our energy, well, we actually become these solid forms. But there is this other form of ours that extends out into the field. So like I'm over here and I'm with Paul, and Paul and I could actually go like, oh, I didn't know that, but all of a sudden Paul calls me. How'd you do that, Paul? It's like that's a quantum entanglement effect.
And it's really nice, John, just when you look at that slide and understand, okay, this is what makes up this and this is what makes up this. When you look at the bottom of that, everything is energy in that scale, right? So one of the reasons why I believe, the Healy works is because it's working and all these are entangled together. So if we're going to change our energy and change our vibration, that in effect is going to change, all the way up that scale to our atoms, molecules, cells, and tissues and organs. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why Healy works so well is that it works at that cellular level on the energy to allow that cell to be the correct voltage as it should. Thanks for going back.
Yep. Yeah, no. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for bringing that up. And if people don't know, Healy's been approved as this is actually the disclosure for overseas. We've got a device. I mean, it's cleared by the FDA. So this actually slide is a little bit off because it's actually claiming more what they're allowed to claim over in the European market and over in the Australian, New Zealand markets, Japanese markets. So, okay, our country won't allow us to claim all this, but those countries are allowing them to claim all this. So we're a cleared device. We're allowed to claim it as a TENS device. Overseas in Europe, they're allowed to claim this much. So you actually can see because, I mean, go ahead, Paul, that you had fibromyalgia, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this was one of the big things that drew me to the Healy is like I'm sure some of you have been on before in weeks past. I mean, I kind of shared my story and what I went through. And I've tried everything from conventional medicine here to, all the medications that come with fibromyalgia. And that just adds on another whole level of whether it be mental, physical, emotional, stress to your body. But and then I went down the holistic approach too and went really in natural medicine and never heard anything until my sister mentioned something with energy. And I said, you know what? I was skeptical at first, and I said, I'm going to try it because it made sense to me just from a scientific standpoint. Um, and I tell you what, I had changes in the first month in my body that I hadn't felt in probably 7 years. And it's a process, right? The body has to heal. I mean, it took a long time for my body to become that sick. So it's going to take time to get those cells healthy again, the tissues healthy again, and work its way up. But 6 months into this thing now, I mean, I would give myself 90% on where I was from prior. I mean, I feel decades younger than I did 7 years ago. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think I remember you telling me that there were times you didn't even feel like playing with your kids because
Yep.
you were just like so tired and exhausted, and having two young kids, and I know that you just like to wrestle and play with them and whatever, but to be the dad that you can and actually play with your two
Yep.
children.
It was the days that you sat on the couch and wondered, man, how do I do something about this? But this is an amazing tool. I really believe that, and I think if more people use it, they start to believe it as well. So
Yeah. Um, so what Paul was just talking about, maybe we can go back into it. There's a quantum sensor. If you look at the top of the slide up here, there's this quantum sensor over here. What did I do here? So you got the quantum sensor over here at the top. And this thing is the thing that actually delivers the frequencies back to the body to actually bring the body back into its bioenergetic balance. And that's sort of bringing that cell voltage. So think of the cell voltage. So we got the quantum sensor in there. And what do you have to know about a quantum sensor? Think about like an old speaker that would vibrate. That's kind of it. It vibrates, but it does quantum energy kind of stuff. So it vibrates that out into the field. So it delivers specific frequencies back to the body. This is definitely unique to Healy. And what Healy has the capacity to do is it sends out, but while it's sending out, it's also pulsing. It's like, okay, how are you? And it's taking information back in. So it's a call and response. Like what was that game we used to play as kids? In the pool, you'd go, somebody had their eyes closed.
Marco Polo.
Marco Polo, and you're trying to sense where they are in the pool. This does a Marco Polo kind of a thing.
Yeah, and it just what makes it so special is that quantum sensor in there, and there's just nothing like it in the market, and that's why this is really it's just a category creator in the wellness space, and the ability to, what makes it so remarkable is just Healy has that ability to read our system and know where we're deficient and where our imbalances are within our body, and it can deliver those frequencies in real time. So when you're running programs on the Healy, that one program that I ran yesterday very well could be different today because my bodies don't need those frequencies I ran yesterday. It needs new one out of that same program. And it can deliver that. So it's really it's a cool artificial intelligence type of thing that's going on that just no one else is capable of right now. So sorry, John.
Yeah, it's okay. No worries. Was that you vibrating?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, there it is. Paul's getting some frequencies right now. I'm jealous. So there's over 144,000 different frequencies, and it's application based. So application based meaning it can work across pain, learning, fitness, job, sleep, beauty, skin, mind, mental issues. Everything within our body has a certain frequency or vibration, and so it works across all these different areas. Oh, there it is. I didn't realize I was jumping ahead of that slide, but these are all the different areas that it works on the human body, and to create this wonderful human experience for us. And like it does take time. I've got a friend in Florida who, for 2 months, she bought her Healy, wasn't using it because she's had very bad brain fog and she's on disability and she's not thinking as well. Well, I just set her up with her Healy here this past week, and I gave her a very simple protocol. And if somebody wants some help on that sometime doing it, I can work with you on that, or Paul can work with you on that. But I gave her a very simple protocol, and I thought, well, in 2 weeks we'll go talk about more complex stuff. She called me 4 days later, and she goes, "Oh my God, John, this thing's amazing. It's cleared my brain fog, my sinuses are better. I'm still having problems with my sleep, but man, if this is just amazing. I can't believe what this has done for me in such a short time." So here's the thing. Here's a picture with all the different programs over here. I mean, Paul, you want to say anything about the programs here in this slide?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I look at the slide, and I mean, there's different level of Healys, and I'm not sure if this PowerPoint goes into those. They may, John, maybe you know it better than I do. So with different levels of Healy, there's the gold level, and then there's a holistic health plus, and then the resonance model as well. And with each of those steps up, you get different types of programs with the Healy right now. So let's just take the gold cycle, for instance. Really, it's my go-to personally. I at least run 1 to 2 gold cycles per day. It's just a very broad spectrum frequency application for toxins in your body, for mental well-being, for physical well-being, for release of inflammation in your body, relaxation, things like that. So, and then after you get out of those gold cycles, each of these, whether it be pain or learning or fitness, they really get detailed into what they work with. You can't really see on the screenshots here, but let's take, for instance, let's see, which one do I know pretty pretty well. Well, let's go with the pain one because I use that a lot in the beginning. Um, they have eight different applications, I believe it is there, and that goes from from migraines to chronic pain to back pain, joint pain, jaw pain, and each of those are specific to an ailment in the body or a frequency that can help balance that portion of the body. And there's numerous ones there, and we can probably get a better look at that, maybe a different slide later that I think I may have too. But you
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah, no, good. Thanks, Paul. So there's just a lot of different areas. This just shows you the depth of what Healy has. And like Paul was saying, you can, there's just a lot of programs and a lot of frequencies to treat a variety of different conditions. And frequency knowledge has actually been around for over about 120 years. So, but anyways, it's coming to the forefront now. And Healy has some other products that they have here. You can have a watch, which actually can give you physical stuff. But tonight we're just basically focusing on the Healy. There's some other stuff here that's available. So we want to know that's just not single dimensional type company. Like some people are interested, like they want Healy for their animals. They'd like to go through and vibrate it for their pets, their dogs, their cats. Some people use it out on their farms. I know Anae's working with a ranch down in Texas right now with Healy, and maybe we'll have her talk about that in a moment. But there's just a range of everything's involved with frequencies.
Healy's so strong for animals. I mean, I have stories from my dog that passed a few months ago now, but the stories are just crazy that come because dogs, you really can't. They don't have the feelings behind it. So when you provide them a frequency, either they feel it or they don't, right? And it's amazing the differences you can see. I think there's some videos online of one of our team members that his dog during fireworks, and you know how a lot of dogs get really uptight and scared and go hide or run away, whatever the case may be. But running this during a fireworks session, just the dog was just calm. I mean, it was just amazing. There was no placebo effect there, right? Dogs don't know that. Animals don't know that. So and now they came out with that recently to where it's really the frequencies are dedicated specifically for the animals. But right now you could use the frequencies that the Healy provides without this module. You can still use them on your animals. They just tailored it more towards animals on this module.
So now what I want to do is we'll share you a little bit about the team who actually stands here behind Healy, who created this product. So Marcus Schmidtke is the founder and the inventor of Time Waver and Healy. He's a really interesting guy. He's a quantum physicist, obviously. He's written a lot of books. The guy also is very spiritually minded. He went off and meditated for almost a decade and a half. So he wanted to find a way of how do I integrate, what I've been learning and meditating and quantum physicists to spread throughout the world. And when he started with Time Waver, that's a big, large machine. It's a significant investment, but you have to go to a therapist's office. But they've been applying these frequencies for a decade and a half. But his vision was he wanted to touch the world. And so 2 years ago, they actually released Healy because they had the vision of having a personable, wearable device that everybody could have the same kind of benefit from frequencies like they were getting out of Time Waver. So, and they put together a medical board here that actually helps support them with frequency guys. So Paul was talking a moment ago about the Gold Cycle programs. Well, this is this guy Nuno Nina on the far left, upper left. This guy runs a number of clinics over in Europe and has been working for 2 decades with frequencies. And he's put together protocols after he's treated thousands of patients. And that's what makes up some of the programs. Well, for sure, all the gold programs. And he's had influence on some of the other programs on how to apply certain frequencies. And um, yeah, so they have a lot of people that are involved with frequencies. And, maybe Paul, you want to say something about Carol McMacken or somebody else over there? I mean,
Oh, geez, I think you'd be better off to speak to Carol. I mean, some of what she's done. I mean, if you don't know who Carol McMacken is, just Google her on YouTube. She's just does some amazing things with the time waiver frequencies, and her numbers and what she can heal has just been amazing to me. And to see her work in some of the sessions, and people come in with, level 8, level 9, 10 pain levels, and within minutes they're diminished. So what she's done with that time waiver machine is pretty amazing to go and watch. So very, very good reference there. If you ever need advice on frequency, she's one to read about and go to some of her seminars and watch them.
okay, yeah, thanks. So they've got a lot of people here that are involved with that. And then to back up the company with the startup kind of thing, they've got this guy, this individual. His name's Christian Halper. He made a ton of money. He's like one of these multi-billionaires, but he's very interested in this kind of technology. The company has had an offer already from Amazon to be bought out by, and they said, no, we don't want to do it. We want to be able to spread this type of technology to the people. And we believe the masses should have this technology. So he's standing behind it to back this company up. So we've got a very strong foundation as a company to have the resources to bring this product to market. So a lot of people go like, well, why Healy? Well, there's a number of reasons why you want to go through here. There's something for everybody with Healy. I mean, if somebody were to look at this like, man, I could go and talk to so many different of my friends, people who have sleep disorders, mental health, weight loss, sports. I've got a friend of mine that's actually losing weight with it. She's told me that it's diminishing her appetite for sweets. There's people that utilize it for performance and working out, learning, lowering the stress, beauty to help, with hair and skin.
Nicotine addiction.
Okay, well, that's one. I hadn't heard that one yet, but doesn't
Yep.
surprise me. So, this is a category killer in a way. I mean, this is very disruptive technology. This simple little device can go across so many different fields on who you could potentially talk to with this device. So this is a map of showing where Healy right now is opened up. So in all the markets, everything that's in pink is where Healy has gotten approved from the governments in there to sell their product. And where they're blue is where we're focused on next. So the next 3 markets that I would expect to be open here within the next 6 months or so would be Canada, Mexico, and Korea. So those are the markets that are going to be happening very shortly. And Paul was talking a moment ago about the Healy. Right now, Healy's package, you get the same device. But it just matters how much software is loaded on it. So they've got 4 levels of software that goes on the device. And here's a better look at right now. There happens to be a worldwide sale going on the product. Oops. So basically what that means is if you buy I'm just going to use round numbers because it's a little easier. That you can see that they have numbers, right down there. If I get the exact number, if I pay $470, which was the normal entrance price for a Healy Gold, well, they'll actually give me the programs on Healy Gold and what's on Healy Holistic Health. Normally that product cost almost $1,000. Now they're selling it for $470. If you want to go and step up to the Healy Holistic Health Plus, that product normally goes for just under $1,500. It's now at $942. And once you buy the product, you don't have any maintenance fees. There's no annual, monthly stuff going on. It's just like you pay it, you own those programs, they're yours. And they charge you just some shipping and tax. And then the professional model, the one that we'll give you a little demo of again tonight, is the Healy Resonance. And that's the one that also has the ability to both scan you and vibrate frequencies like from, well, like from me to Paul, or from, me to Pamela, or me to a friend of mine in Australia. They don't necessarily have to be, right next door.
And it does
So
add a really, that resonance really does add some huge benefits, not only to, what you see below the resonance are, all of those are going to be microcurrent programs. So you're going to be, attached to the Healy. With the resonance, like John was saying, they're, not only are those programs, can they be run remotely into your energy field, but what's really cool is you get some additional programs there, like you can see their materia medica, amino acids, Bach flowers. You get a lot of that extra that aren't Healy programs, but they're super strong programs as well, from just from vitamin and minerals, crystals, things like that, um, more of the ancient medicine techniques that can put those frequencies in your body. And those have had some strong effects. I mean, I still use 3 of them on a daily basis, multiple times a day, morning, noon, and night. I'll do, amino acids, materia medica, and I'll do the salts as well. So those are some great, and you can do it in, instead of sitting on a microcurrent for 45 minutes, you can ping those multiple times a day in less than 2 minutes, running them remotely.
yeah, thanks. One of my favorite ones, which I never knew anything about before, is the Bach flower remedies. And that really is amazing. I mean, if I'm feeling kind of stressed, or if I'm dealing, trying to get over some emotional heart, or some, things that are troubling, um, I run these Bach flower remedies, and it really help. It really does a beautiful job to help shift your mental energy. That's a part that I found in there, which I had no clue what they were, but I now have an experience of them. And like Paul said, you can just use those at 37 seconds at a shot or something, and give yourself a little dose. You want to talk about that, Paul?
Yeah, so basically what a fast start is, and a lot of companies have this type of program in place. Um, let's say that what they're representing here is, let's say you buy the resonance model. So in the first 30 days after you sign up, after purchasing the resonance model, you can sell any 3 devices, and you can earn yourself a free resonance, worth $2,400 or whatever it was. It's just it's a great kickstart for someone. And to be honest with you, when it for one, when people see it, use it, and you share it, 3's not that big of a number, because really this thing sells itself. I mean, once you experience frequency and you get the benefits from it, people are like, yeah, okay, I wasn't believing, but I'm on board now. Um, and having that extra Healy there for purpose of sharing with other people, to make it a little bit easier to do. I know when we had one, it was awfully difficult to do that, because quite honestly, I'm gonna be selfish, and I was hawking it a lot. So it was hard to share that, but now it's a little bit easier, and it just gives a little more of a benefit to try and get yourself off on the right foot with the business. So
Right. I'm going to go through here and look and try to unmute your wife, Paul, and see if she wants to say if you were actually sharing it all the time. No, I'm teasing.
no, she'll tell you.
Paul,
I'll tell you. She'll be the first to say it.
uh, all right, so that's fast start. And then for a lot of people, they're just not sure about frequencies working or not. So there's this group, Facebook group. You can plug people into it. It's called Frequency Experience. If you can see down there's on your screen, I don't know if you can notice, it's a private group. And that's a pretty accurate number about where it is now. It's probably 52 or 53 right now, because it's been growing quite a bit. I mean, when I first joined, that number was about 30,000, or maybe it was actually 25. I think it's about, yeah. I first joined in September. And there are just a lot of testimonials. People will go in there and they'll have pictures. Well, I had this issue, or I have that, or I just got my Healy, and here's what what my particular condition is. I'm working on this flu. I'm working on this fibromyalgia. I'm working on this cancerous type disease. and they talk about their experience about what Healy's doing for them. So if you have anybody that's not aware or not in there, it's a great group to go invite them in there. And if you see down there in the bottom of the screen, there's a little magnifying glass. You can, when you're in that group, you can just plug in there and go, diabetes, high blood pressure. You can type in a condition and find, most likely you'll find a testimonial of somebody in there. So it's a great little device. So, a lot of people go through and they say, well, has there been a double-blind medical study done on it? No, there hasn't. Well, here's what we have in, as opposed to that, go to this Facebook group here and listen to everybody who's using it and see what they say. Let's see, and I think that's it on that part. So we'll pause for a second, see if there's any questions. Anybody want to add anything to what we've shared so far? I'm going to go through and I'll pop up the I don't know. We should do. You want to do an aura analysis, Paul, or
Yeah,
I don't think we've done one of those.
yeah, let's play with that. That's it's kind of fun and interesting. I've never done it on a group though, so I'd like to see.
Oh wait, I don't want to do it as a person. We want to go
Do a group.
Let me cancel there. I want to cancel. I need to do a group. So let's cancel that.
Well, if anyone, while you're doing that, John, I'm just going to say, if anyone's not familiar with what John's doing, he's going into what is the Resonance app. It's the Analyze app within Healy, and what he's going to do now is basically take a picture of our group on this Zoom, and what the Healy's able to do with just a little bit of information is find out basically the frequency of the group it's looking for, and seeing what our group needs. It's going to read it, and it can spit out frequencies to us all over the world. You can do it. It's actually a really cool thing that the resonance model does. So there, he's going to take a picture of everyone.
Okay, so we'll use that photo. And I will now record a vibration of the group. So we're all group think here. Okay, we got a group vibration. And date of foundation will be today. Place. Let's just call it Zoom. I think that's probably good, huh?
Yeah, we don't need to.
And a name required over there.
Yeah, we need that.
We need a name. Okay, I gotta get a name. Let me get this up so I can type. So Healy user group 21821. Okay, so it asked me if I want to save. Yep. And you want to do an analysis now? Yep. So we're going to record the aura of the group. Wow, that's pretty bright. Holy cow. That must be a reflection of you, Paul, because it's so up here in the or can you guys see it again? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'd opened up my Zoom screen so I could see everybody here, and I can't see what I'm doing online.
Yeah, we can see the color wheel. So
okay, good. Yeah, I was just seeing the big Zoom screen here. Okay. So there's some information here in the Zoom thing. Up here in the top right corner, you see these three little like bars. If I touch that, it'll move us into a bar graph and talk about where our energy is as a group.
We are looking pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe that's Ellen over there. Ellen, maybe you're responsible for these good vibes. So we can then go through and read the interpretations here. You gonna say anything there, Paul, or?
Nope.
Okay. So you've got this information here. So what we'll do is we're not going to go into the real detail part of it, but what we can do is we'll start an analysis. So I'll push this analysis button down here. And our group focus statement here is our aura is strong and stable. And I'm going to start the analysis. And so what comes up here is this will then give us the ability to vibrate this into the field here for everybody. So I can go through and choose and vibrate this on the chakra states. And
or what's nice about this is that you can actually send this to someone as well. So if we wanted to send out, say one of you said, hey, I'd like to know, what everything said there, you can actually email that as well in a PDF. Right there, he's showing.
we'll make it simple. We'll just, I'll send it over to like Paul right now, just to show you how easy that is to send to Paul. And there it is. Oh, message failed to send. So let's go email.
Yeah, you can do email too.
That's my text. Won't do that while I'm online.
Too much bandwidth for it.
There it is, Paul, and bam. Now I've sent it to Paul. That's how easy you can send that to somebody. And then on top of that, you can now vibrate this to everybody. Here's a minute, 20 seconds on this area. And these are the frequencies that will be sent out. And these letters to the top, it says 81%, number 2, and then you see this LMCC. We can dig that up for you if you want, but what it basically is, when you see these different terms here at the end, where you see D1E or LM number 4, what they are, those are homeopathy dilution ratios. And those or strength ratios, whichever way you want to talk about it. But in homeopathy, they actually have this power rating. And so this relates to the power rating of the homeopathy that's being vibrated into the field. And then so we hit this here. And now the whole group is receiving these chakra energies right now. Would anybody else on the call like to add something to what we're doing here right now? Somebody that's really into chakra energy?
How often should you do this program?
Something like this. I mean,
well, Anay, you can.
Oh, go ahead.
On this kind of a program. So, go ahead.
No.
What I was going to say on it. Are you talking to me, Paul?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, got it. I didn't want to jump over you on that. The way that you can kind of determine how often, I mean, when you read something here and like how relevant it was, like you could see when we first did this scan on all of us, Ellen, it was pretty high, that we were pretty close to our thresholds. We were almost at 100%. You know, if I'm high like that, I might just run it, one time during the day and that's it. If I were lower, I might choose down here in the bottom where I see this minute 20 seconds down here at the bottom. And I might choose a smaller ratio of time, let's say like 17 seconds. And then I might vibrate that 3 or 4 times during the day. So I don't have to rerun. So I could vibrate a little bit. So it's sort of more like a homeopathy, or sometimes you get a prescription from a doctor and they say take 4 tablets 4 times a day, right? Morning, noon, dinner, and before you go to bed, right? They'll give you that kind of a prescription ratio. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up my share screen while this finishes up, just to give an idea, just with the residence guidelines to try and to show everyone here, kind of the guidelines Healy has sent out and how many times to run these scans.
Okay, good, perfect. So let me just do one thing, and I'll cut my
Yeah,
screen
go ahead.
out since we've done that. Unless somebody's got a question. So when you've done that, so we've done a scan, right? So we went through, we ran a scan, and here's our scan that we've run. So you could always run a second scan, Ellen, right? Or if I were to go over here at the bottom, down here where I see the house, and if I touch house, it now brings me up here to where I have clients and lists. Well, we just created a list, so I'd like to take a look at that list. So I touch list, and I can search by a name, and I come in here and I go, oh, Healy user group 1218. So I touch the Healy user group. I come up. Wow, there's my list. See how fast that was? I didn't have to go through all those steps. And I can come in here and I can choose to vibrate it for a duration again. So it makes it kind of easy to vibrate again. So it doesn't make it so cumbersome that you go through and you run an analysis, like we've done before. So it's a good question. So thanks. Any other questions to what we're doing right now before Paul brings up his slide that he wants to share with you all on what we're doing here in this part? Okay, I'm gonna then delete stop sharing on my screen, Paul, and give you the ability to share.
Okay. Does everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, so these are really the guidelines for what Healy has set forth for the resonance or field frequencies, if you will, field energy, and really they break it onto two different sections. You have your acute issues and your chronic issues. So say like John just did, he just did an analysis. Let's just use. Instead of the aura, let's use something a little bit different. Say we ran it on our bioenergetic balance 1 programs, and numerous your top 5 are going to come up for those programs, and say you're doing you're working on a chronic issue, whatever it may be. You're going to run, so you can do your analysis and you can run those 2 to 3 times per day for 2 minutes and 49 seconds. And then for more acute issues, you're going to run them shorter durations, but you're going to run them more often during the day. So you necessarily don't have to, like John was saying, you don't have to rescan yourself every time. You can rescan yourself for your top programs, but you can just go back into your list, those 2 to 8 times a day, whatever your needs are, and you can just hit those lists and boom, you just rerun your frequencies, revibrate again. And basically the duration until it's successful, or for chronic issues, it's about 1 month, depending on the issues. And it's, that it could take longer, it could take shorter. So this is a really high level overview. What they don't recommend is running those frequencies. Not that it's going to hurt you or be bad for you, but if you run for over 2 minutes, 49 seconds on a person, you're not going to gain any more benefit from it if you run it for 25 minutes straight than you would if you're only running it for 2 minutes, 49 seconds. So,
Paul,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. Well, you know what? And sometimes when you want to go through and try and find these issues that you work on, either like chronic or acute. So I'm kind of willing to share this and be vulnerable on this side. Paul knows that I've been working on some personality type issues within myself and how I come across to the world. And so I shared with him that I was trying this thing, about what, 6 weeks ago, Paul, maybe by now, maybe a month ago. And so I had no clue. I just said, hey, Paul and I we were both really excited with these frequencies. And I said, hey, I'm going to go try this thing. And then this past week, go ahead, Paul, why don't you tell them what, I'm okay. You kind of tell them how what you were saying,
Well, I mean, from a standpoint, outside looking into for John, and I've known John for a while now, and I started telling him this week, and I wanted to say something because I just it was I feel my shoulders, and I wanted to say, over the course of the past 6 weeks, I've really been watching what John has gone through, working on some of these issues. But what I've noticed from it has just been amazing to me because what he's done, he was a much higher stressed person when you talk to him than he is today. And I noticed it was night and day different to me, where it's a much more relaxed state when you talk to him. Now, John has a lot of energy, don't get me wrong, but it's energy, it's good energy, right? There's a difference between a high stress energy and good energy. And what John is portraying now, and I've noticed it was blatant to me, because I've known him before, how his demeanor has changed. And it was jaw dropping to me just to see that change. And I had to share that with him, whether he liked it or not, but he at least was grateful. He was at least grateful that I said something. I mean, I guess we all should do that. If it's something definitely for the better, we want to share that with people, just to speak that truth into people. So
Yeah, and I was very grateful for Paul sharing that with me because I had no clue. I mean, I didn't know this kind of change was happening in me in that way while I'm running Healy treatments, these things. So like I've dropped, a very heavy cabinet thing on my toe December 24th, and I had acute pain, and I ran Healy, and it helped me. So, but in this sense of where I had this other developmental change, I had no clue that I was making progress. So it was really nice to have somebody that was willing to, share with you in a way, say, hey, I've noticed, hey, friend, I've noticed a difference, and you're coming across this way, and this is a lot more pleasant.
yeah, I mean, the Healy is just so awesome in that way that it does things to us that we don't even notice. They're very subtle. They happen over time, and I think one of the biggest things that I've seen from people that use it is the emotional and mental change in people. It's a very calming piece to put into someone that usually has a lot of stress or energy. You see this, and it's just one of those benefits. You think a little more. Um, what word do I want to use? It's just everything comes out a little more positive out of your mouth with the Healy. The thoughts are a little more positive as you continue to use it. Your reactions are a little more positive, and that alone can change you physically. Yeah, I mean, if that makes sense. So thoughts are a lot of our words are heavy, our thoughts are heavy, and if we can change those, that's going to change who we are as a person physically as well. And that's one thing Healy does really, really well.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Paul. So I see we've does anybody have, we're getting close to the top of our hour to end today. Would anybody else like to have something they'd like to share or a question? Okay, so I see an A, you got your hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute and come on. I saw you with your dog, your little poodle there.
There we go. I
There you
have to
go.
show you this puppy. This is my puppy. And this is a Shih Tzu puppy. And she, like all Shih Tzus, seemingly, has little sebaceous cysts on her. And I am running the skin program on her on the residence about once a day for 12 minutes. And they have reduced to half. And I've only been doing it about 5 times. They've reduced all over her body to about half of what they were. She's happy.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's awesome.
I had to show you my puppy.
So cute. What's the puppy's name?
Her name is Gigi.
Gigi.
Gigi. Okay.
To see what that thing does to animals is just I'm just so impressed with it. Animals can't fake it, and it's just a real study when you use it. Like before I lost my dog, she had a lot of tumors on her back leg, and actually one of them ruptured one night, and we actually took her to the vet to have her put down because it wouldn't stop bleeding. So on our way to the vet, I'm like, well, I'm just going to try these deep cycle programs because that's what coming up. I scanned her, and by the time we got to the vet, the bleeding had stopped, and it just out of nowhere, and I was like, well, I can't do this now, right? Um, Granted that it ended the same way it would have, but we got more time with her, and she was happy, but it was neat to see how effective some of those programs can be.
I've been doing a whole bunch of cows. And they're calving. They're calving on a great big ranch in South Texas. And I am asking for their protection. And I didn't do the protection program. I'm just asking, well, I've done the pure program for on the gold to set the perfection of these calves being born, which is very unusual in really, really cold climate. Because this is South Texas, and they don't have electricity, and they've been without water. They're having to melt snow. They have snow down there that maybe once a century they have. And I have also been doing a resonance program on the owner of all of these cattle, and she has calmed down her anxiety over what's happening on the ranch considerably, and saying, I don't know if I could do this without it. So she's going to get one. You can tell that for sure. Anyway, it's been fun because you can just send it anywhere. I sent it to the Capitol. So
That's magic. Thanks, and thank you
bet.
very much.
You're welcome.
I'll let people know tomorrow. Pamela has asked me to kind of do a little presentation like we did tonight. It's going to be 11:30 Central Time, and it's open if anybody else that wanted to have an introduction to Healy. You can email me or email Paul, and he'll forward me a link, and they're welcome to come on to the presentation tomorrow at 11:30 Central Time. So I'll just if somebody wants to know, we're going to do a demo and a scan, and share with a couple people that are interested. So if you have somebody that that's would like to have somebody else tell them what's going on, that's going to go tomorrow at 11:30. But I just wanted Paul, and our purpose on creating this group was just to try and find out if any of you folks who have one and you're using it, if you have any questions, that's our primary purpose. We really want to make sure that people who've gotten a Healy in their hand know how to use it, are delivering the frequencies for themselves, and if you're, what we can do to help make your experience valuable.
Absolutely.
So if there's nothing else, I guess we'll just kind of say, goodbye to next week. And if you have any ideas or topics you'd like us to do, send it to us, let us know. But otherwise, thank you very much for showing up, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night, everyone. Good weekend.
Yep, thanks. Okay, you got the recording, Paul?
I think
There we go, that's all.